Alright everybody, this is part 2. Here's the beautiful orchid. Let's see, there's 5 blooms there. Oh, 4 blooms there. So that makes 9. Whoops. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's 15 blooms. This one you have to take off as soon as they start to wilt. That one I'm going to put in water. So this is from yesterday. So she has 1 good leaf, 2. It's funny, that one's gone. So she has 4 leaves, but look how wavy that is. And this one, all wavy, but they're kind of firm. This one, remember, whoops, had good roots. So I'm going to pause. Now I already took this out of its pot, and you can see all of the bark that was in there and around its roots. So hang on a second. These are the plastic pots that the orchid comes in, and this is the cache pot, and I use these for other plants. And what I like about this is that little lip bubble in there that kept the tip of the orchid out of any water that might accumulate in the bottom. I use it for my other plants. So we're going to put that there for a minute. And I also soak my clay pots in water so they aren't taking moisture out of the new orchid. And I also try to soak my bark. And this is soaked in rainwater. So let's look at the orchid. This was the sunburned orchid from, whoops, I just heard something crack. That's not good. See this core in the inside? That's where the baby orchid grew. And probably grew over in Thailand or somewhere, Hong Kong, or Taiwan, and then was shipped to the United States as a seedling, because these have to be grown in the lab. So let me get rid of that core. Now let's look at this stem. This is a good root. That's probably not. I'm going to just dip this in some water and you'll see the difference. Look at the difference from just a little bit of water being on them. You can tell what's good and what's bad. So we're going to take the bad off. It's amazing how you wet them and all of a sudden they change colors. So there's a good root there, getting a tip. That one's getting a tip. And here's a really good new one right here. Where'd it go to? That one's growing. That's what you look for. And it's getting a new leaf right there. But look at the poor thing. Sunburned underneath. The stem's all sunburned. Hopefully that one will come back. So it really only has 1 good leaf. Well, maybe 2 if you count that little baby one. There's that root that I was looking for. Look at that, how sweet. And look at the tip. It's all rubbery. Alright, pausing for a minute. Alright. Now, let's find, I was trying to get off the stems that were hard to get off because they were dry, but I think this one will come right off. See? See that cord in the inside? That's what keeps these fragile vellums from breaking and helps support the plant as it wraps itself around the tree in the wild. A lot of people, this one should come right off. Watch. There we go. And that little bit right there I try to get with my fingernail. And this way I'm going to have, there's another one that'll come right off. There's some more bad. That one I'm going to stop the camera to take off. Some more. See, this is why I went ahead and went back for it, because it still had good roots. These are hard to get off. Yesterday I had it soaked, but then my camera went off. So I'm going to pause. Alright, let's have a look and see. That's firm. I'm trying to get, and when I snip it, I try to snip it back like that one. I try to snip all the dead off with my fingernails. And there's so many soil stained. There's another. See that tip? I'm going to try to get it off with my fingernails on camera. See, it just slides off. Alright, now sometimes we put peroxide on, but somebody on somebody on Facebook said not to, so I'm going to try her way. Alright, I cut off some of the stem, but I like to leave some of the stem on so that I can hold it. And you can see she has pretty good roots. And this, what the heck is this? This must be, this was, trying to see, that got sunburned. Well, there's nutrients stored in that, so I'm going to leave it alone until it's brown like this one. This means that the nutrients that were stored in this stem, this spike, the plant needed. I'll pause. Here we go. Alright, you can put, you want to recycle these squiggles? China's not taking our garbage anymore, neither are a lot of other countries. So as long as they don't dissolve in water, you can put them in there. They help add airspace. So, we're going to put her down in here. I just noticed. Oh, look at her little baby leaf. Whoops. Wonder what happened there. I don't know. Alright. I'm going to have to take some of this back out. Alright. Here she is. That one, that leaf, I'm going to cut part of it off, but I'm going to leave the rest of it on because the orchid is taking in nutrients in there. So there's a little sunburned sweetie pie from Walmart. I'm going to pause because I am going to repot this. And this one is a very pretty color. Look how pretty. Just soft like a watercolor. And she has spikes going everywhere. So, and notice the long leaves. This has long arrow-shaped leaves. She's getting a new leaf right there, all shiny. And see this? This one has more oval, paddle-shaped leaves. Alright, gonna pause again. Here's Waterfall Orchid. And this one was at Lowe's reduced. And when I looked inside the plastic pot, I could see it had lots of healthy roots. And that's why it's still holding on to some blooms. So, let's see if we can get this out. It's much easier. And this orchid is going to love having new bark and a new home. And if it's happy, it's not going to, and you can see the basket shape. Orchids love bark more than they love the other. And there's like one nasty one. I'm going to stick this in water for a second. See how the roots change colors? You can tell this vellum is bad, and it should just pull right off because it's not dried up on there. And this should just pull right off. And always let that inner core on because it can help take up water. This one's sort of dried out. It doesn't come off as easy. You can see it's saying, no, I don't want to, and now the orchid wants to fall. So I'm going to pause, take the rest of this stuff off the roots. I want to show you something. This is like really slimy, and this is probably, when I've been in this Lowe's before, they overwater. The pot is like full of water. Also sometimes these rot because the bark is old. Man, that's really long. Hang on, everybody. There's some dead right in there in the center. I can feel it mushy in there. All you do is feel around these roots if you're not sure. And here's one that right at the intersection, somehow or other it got injured. So you don't cut the whole root off, you just cut part of it. Just use your fingernail, get it out of there. And there's some more dead. I don't like to leave any dead there. Alright, I'll be back. Something else to check out is, see right here. Oh, focus. There's the dryer buzzing. It's not focusing. There's bark sticking to that. You need to take that bark off because it's old. It's going to get acidic. Here's another piece. See? I don't know why the camera's not focusing. But I'm going to take this over to the sink. It has a beautiful set of roots. Beautiful plant. This was $8 at Lowe's. I'm going to pause. Alright, I have 4 minutes left. You might say, what are you going to do with all that old bark, Kathy? Well, I'm going to reuse it. I'm going to mix it up with my potting soil. Half potting soil. Stay Green's a great brand at Lowe's. And I'm going to use half Stay Green peat moss. So I started to put, and what I don't like is we're getting a lot of little tiny things in the bark. I like big chunks of bark. And you just sort of wiggle it around. And since there were so many nice healthy roots, this is really doing well here. And if you don't have a lot of roots and the orchid shaking around, I also put both spikes on a stick. You can also put some rocks on top, like these that I have in a pot right there. And you can put them on top if your orchid is shaking around. So let's see how much. I have 3 more minutes. The dryer's mad at me. It's down in the rec room, off the rec room, and it's saying, come get me. I love my orchids. I'm new to orchids since October, somewhere around in there. Carolyn of Jacqueline's Orchids, and it's Jacqueline spelt with an O because it's named after her and her husband. She gave me the confidence that I wouldn't kill any more orchids. So I bought a couple, kept them alive, and lo and behold, they stayed blooming, and now, can't see too many right there. All the rest of the guys are on summer vacation. They're saying, the ones in the window, we shouldn't have kept blooming. You would have taken us outside. So this is a new one from Lowe's. The sunburned one was from Walmart, and that was a true rescue because all the other guys were dead. Now there's a lady named Iman, E-M-A-A-N, on YouTube, and she's shown how you can get orchids without any leaves to grow. And what they do is they throw out keikis. All right, I have like 1 more minute left. So there she is, beautiful. Going to recycle that with my potting soil. So let's count her leaves. So when I want to look back on this next year, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very healthy orchid, and she was only, I think, $8 and some cents. So I'm not going to cut these spikes off. There's lots of nutrients the plant stored in there, and if you go to Rick's Orchids on YouTube, you will find out about mobile and immobile nutrients. All right. Click subscribe, please, please, please. Click like, but most important of all, please leave me a comment. I love comments more than anything. So I live for your comments. It's not showing up. They're all backlit. Okay. Take care, my friends.